So something like this is awesome for training 3 different variations of your handstand, jumping up into a handstand, handstand push-ups and press handstand. Because we have the raised surface that slowly increases in height, but we also have the constant safety of the level on the other side, so there's not a drop on the other side. If I fall out of the handstand here, if I'm trying to jump, I've still got that constant level on this side, so it's like handstanding on the floor. So if you're learning to jump up onto a box for other exercises or just for control in the handstand, or even if you're working up to jump up onto canes or something like that, so you've got the safety if you go all the way over and then you come back down again, we just have the grass or mud, should we say. I could work the tuck jump, keeping the legs together. I could work the straddle jump, taking the legs out to the side. I could even work a pike jump, which is really hard at this height. So the big thing is just slowly building consistency and control as you get higher and higher, so you've still got the safety for when you want to then move over to the boxes where you have a drop on the other side, but you've already built that control. Now with the press handstand, we can use the wall as our partial range, so we can start on the higher end, which makes it slightly easier. So if you're working towards that press handstand, you can go to a known height, up and down, and then you can just slowly reduce the height so it gets harder and harder, so you're using a bigger range of motion until you're hardly using any height difference. Now if you are a bit stronger in the presses, you can start to use the deficit press. So from here, my feet are now lower than my hands, which makes it harder to press up. This is good if you're working towards things like stool to press or planche presses, because the hip has to come lower. So if I go to something like this where it's a big deficit, my hip is now very low compared to my shoulder, so I have to use a lot of strength to press up. So getting closer towards that planche or stool to press. Now if you're working to handstand push-ups or things like shoulder stands, you can just play with that bottom position. So this shoulder stand position or straight position, and you have the safety of it being grass on one side and the ease of getting into it when your knees are on the raised surface. If I already have the control of the eccentric, I can play with my eccentrics to a deficit. So coming down to that shoulder stand position with the safety of the grass and the ease of getting out onto that same level. Now you could use this for handstand push-ups as well, where we're using partial range, so starting on a higher surface and kissing the head, the forehead to this and coming back up. Now obviously you need a certain amount of control with this, because this is hard and not so nice as something like a yoga block, but it's something that you could play with as well before you start to work on your deficit, or even if you already have a handstand push-up, using it as like control, kissing the forehead to it and coming back up at different heights. And then if we are working that deficit handstand push-up, I can start to go partial range deficit. So I'm going to come down, touch the head, come back up again, if I can, come back up again, and then slowly increase the deficit so it gets harder and harder. Until you get to a full range where you're not touching the floor, but your chest or collarbone touches the wall. Let me know if you have any questions and I'll speak to you next time. Thanks guys.